Good morning and welcome to Love Every Moment, coming to you today from the Black Hills of South Dakota. Today's verses are Matthew 7:26 and 27, which brings us to the end of the Sermon on the Mount, which I started on about a year and a half ago. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Well, of course, this is the antithesis of last week's verses, and I have the link up here. And we found out last week that the man that built his house on the rock, we had to find out what that rock was. And it really is the foundation that God is doing the work, not that we're doing our own human work. Now, figuratively, these two houses would probably look the same. One's just built on sand and one is built on a rock, but they would look similar until the testing comes, until the rains and the floods and the winds test that house, and then we'll see which one stands. It's the same thing with the fruit. You'll know them by their fruit. But a lot of people can do Christian acts and seem Christian. In fact, they may even think they're Christian when they have no relationship. Just like we saw in verses 22 and 23. Didn't we do all these things? We prophesied in your name. We cast out demons. We did miracles. Shouldn't we be in heaven? And Jesus said, I never knew you. We never had that relationship. So the rock is that relationship on that. Let's also, looking back at our main verse, it says, everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them. I want to take a look at that word hear, which is akouo in Greek, and is used quite often, over 400 times in the New Testament. But there's hear, and then there's hear. And this one says hear and act on them, and I want to get that idea across. Now, let's look at that in action. In Matthew 18:15, it says, if your brother sins, go and show him his fault in private. If he listens to you, you have won your brother. That's that same word. And it's the idea of not, well, I hear you. No, it's I hear you and it's getting to my heart. I'm going to respond to that because we have a brotherly relationship. That's what the hearing is supposed to be back in our main verse, that we have a godly relationship, and because I hear Jesus' words, they're going to affect me and it's going to change my behavior. We've also seen in Romans, it says faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. But there's another verse that is not quoted as much that Paul says in Galatians 3:2. This is the only thing I want to find out from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law or by hearing with faith? So did you receive the Spirit because you kept the commandments with your human effort? The answer should be quite obviously no. Or did you receive the Spirit by hearing with faith? Hearing with that faith that gets into your heart and allows Jesus to do the work in you. That's what the real work of the law is. That's how we get the Spirit. Now back to our main verse. Let's see. Again, it says that at the end, Jesus finished these words. The crowds were amazed at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one having authority and not as the scribes. So the teaching had been, you've got to work hard to keep those commandments. That's what everyone had understood before, but they understood it wrong. And unfortunately, many of us are understanding that wrongly too. We can't do Christianity. We have to have a love relationship. That's the rock, and that's what we should be building on. Because if we love every moment, we're going to love every moment. I'm your average wretch, and I hope you have a great week.